Hey guys, welcome back to Susan Shares. Well, I have a very special guest today, and it's Timesia Hart. Hey Timesia!
Hey Susan Goss.
I'm so thrilled that Timesia is with us. Listen, Timesia is one of my dearest friends, and when Timesia and I get together, it's like this, constantly. But the thing about Timesia that is so dear to me and my heart is Timesia and I, Timesia is a friend that we may not see each other for days, weeks, and sometimes a couple of months. But then when we do get together, it's like deep. I mean,
like we never missed a beat.
Like we never missed a beat. And Timesia has said to me, Susan, you know some things about me that some of my family members don't know.
We won't mention
any
of that.
That's right.
Just
and
keep that between us.
Same with me. I mean, really, I dearly love you, Timesia. And there's a reason why. It's just like very, I trust you, Timesia. And I know that Timesia trusts. I'm laughing right now because I call her just
Tyranny, Tisha, make up a name. And,
there's a lot of things.
Oh, she's talking about me.
But anyway, that's a side note. But anyway, but that's for fun. But and that's one of the reasons we do have a lot of fun together too. And we're going to tell you a couple of stories here in a minute. But anyway, we're soul mates in so many different ways, but based all on our love for Jesus first, and then love for each other. You want to comment on that?
Yeah, the fact that it's obvious we're sisters, but you kind of got the lighter version.
I am.
And I got the
I'm
suntan version.
I'm white. You're black.
There we go. I was trying to keep it, clean, but true.
Yeah.
But when God created you, Susan, He created me, you white, me black. But when He created both of us, He said, this is good. So you're no better than me, and I know better than you. We're all created equally. And as we are traveling on, a conversation needs to be had by a white friend with a black friend on racial issues. And I think as we have these conversations, we could come clean with the past to make a brighter future for your grandbabies, for my grandbabies. It's a conversation friends need to have. And I think the world can solve this problem by two friends just sitting down and having a conversation.
Totally and completely. One conversation at a time, don't you think?
I love that.
You
see things my way. You have to come over to my side. And I too have to see things and view things from your side. And that's how it happens. One
conversation at a time. And Timesia and I were talking, and this is why I love this kind of relationship. And that's why I was telling Timesia, I asked her, I said, would you please do a Susan Shares about these issues? And she was so gracious, said, absolutely, because I think it's so important to, and as we did jokingly, but for real, call it out. You are black.
I am. And I'm going to be black until I die.
Yes, and I'm going to be white until I die. But to call that out, but also to learning through Timesia and her teaching me, that it's not good to say, for me as a white person, to say, that I don't see color.
Right.
When I see
see me as a black person. And
right.
White people say that often.
Yeah, and tell us why that's offensive.
It's offensive because it's a lie.
That's right.
It's and I, as a lot of black people, I go with, if I can trust you on something as simple. I know you don't mean any harm.
Right.
When you say, when I look at you, I don't see. I know that because I know your heart. But for people that may not know me, to say I don't see you that's a lie. And so if I can't trust that very minimum, I can't trust you. So that's why it's and we teach our children that not to see color, even though we mean well. It's a lie, because the child's gonna go to school and learn brown, white, black. So that is it's kind of one of those foundation things or foundation no-nos.
Mm-hmm.
Don't tell me you don't see color, because you do.
So what's a good thing to say to your children?
Well, that it makes no difference. Just what I said in the beginning. We're teaching them the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as Christians, we teach them, you know, what God made this person white.
Mm-hmm.
But God made no mistakes.
That's right.
When he created you white, there wasn't a mistake in that.
Mm-hmm.
He said, this is good.
This is good.
And when he created me black,
This is good.
he said the same. That's what we need to teach
That's
our
right.
children. What is right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Then they don't make that same mistake.
Mm-hmm.
You know, their mistake is already corrected.
That's so good. That is
But
so good.
it's just fundamental.
That's exactly right. And also on that same note, Timesia and I were also talking about an empathetic response. So if you were saying that you are offended by something, and I could say, as a white person, can relate to the feeling of being hurt or offended by something, a feeling that I have had myself, even though I'm white, but I can relate to that feeling, that would be a good thing.
Yeah, let's break that down.
Okay.
Because this is something that it needs exposure.
Yes,
Okay.
it does.
So-
It really does.
So in your growing up as a white girl, just say one thing that was offensive to you, that really got to your core.
I was called names growing up all the way through elementary school because I was fat, and so I was called really horrible names.
How did that make you feel?
I felt less than, not worthy.
Yes.
It was awful, and so
And
those
Susan,
names.
that is no different when somebody calls me out because I'm black. I felt the same things that you experienced. So we're now on the same level. And once we're on that same level, we can communicate. Because you can identify with those feelings the same as I have. The only difference in the two of those things is you identify with a feeling while you were white, but they are the same feelings. Feelings don't change. They're the same feelings I feel because I'm black. So, and when you get on that same level, it's a good place to have a good conversation
About unworthiness, what that feels like to feel unworthy,
It's the same way
what
I
it
feel.
feels like that. Oh, and can I relate to that?
Somebody stereotyped you,
Yes,
they stereotyped me.
and then even today, somebody
To this
stereotypes
very
today. I get called another name
Okay, but
for
it's
being
no
married
different.
to that. So
Okay.
it's the same way.
It's exactly the
Yeah.
same.
So
way.
to relate to that, I don't have to
Relationship
be.
is the
it's the
bottom
same.
line.
It's the bottom
We
line.
gotta come to a common ground.
And that's what's so great, I think, and I think it's so important for the listeners to hear that, and that's why you and I have related so well. Because I've been called names currently,
Yeah.
just being married to a doctor. So naming that, and it's an ugly name, by just the fact, and they don't even know me, and coming to you and talking to you about that, you related so well.
Don't
because
even know
of
me,
of the
but
names,
the color of my skin.
the color of skins, names you've been called, and you and I have related to that so well and grieved for each
Absolutely.
other. And so we have grieved on that level, at that empathetic level for each other.
Absolutely.
And it has nothing to do with the color of our skin. But
It's the
we
feeling.
connected, it's the feeling. But
It's huge.
it's
That is huge.
Uh-huh.
Again, it is a foundation where we can begin to end racism. By two friends getting on that common ground, that level of empathy that you feel, that I feel. There's no difference. There's no difference in the two. And work from there up.
Yeah. And to your point, that is how we start to heal.
That's where we start. That's a good starting point.
That's a good starting point.
And what I need to say, especially to those that are listening to this conversation, you got to play a part in it. It's just not me. You got to play your part. You got to be willing
To
have a
learn.
conversation. Exactly.
You got to be willing
Like you
to
said
have a
from the
conversation.
beginning, you got to be willing to want to learn. You got to be willing, as hard as it may be, to have the conversation. And then that's how the healing will start to come. by you being open and hearing me, not just listening to the words,
but open to change. You've got to be open to change. You can't go into a conversation like, I'm going to change their mind. I'm already set in my ways. But you've got to be. Key word is open.
And the facts. Stick to the facts.
Yes.
Let's just stick to the facts. Racism has been around for a long, long time.
Oh,
it's time for it to end.
Amen.
That's a fact. And so sticking to the facts, having that open mind, hearing each other, and let's just stick with the facts. I think that's the way, you know, like you said, one conversation, one relationship at a time. That's the way we fix it.
And one conversation at a time leads to the next conversation because it's a model. Well, and it's the way the disciples did. I mean, it's one disciple at a time changes.
That's good.
It really does.
That's really good.
It is. And but shall we tell? I mean, because it's not changing. You know, we wanted to leave the viewers with one thing that they could do, and that's to develop one conversation. Is that the way we want to leave it?
I like that. One conversation that is coupled with a happening.
With doing something.
Doing something.
Because we don't want to have mind.
Right. We don't want to have a conversation and put a period. Because
No.
that's going to do nobody any good.
No.
We're having a conversation for change.
For change. And that's a changed heart. That's
Exactly.
a changed heart.
So that's a challenge.
That is
to
a challenge.
the viewers.
That's a
to
challenge.
keep an open mind and not always think that your ways are the period.
That's right.
There's a lot I need to learn.
Right.
You know, there's a lot we can learn from each other.
Right.
By having a simple conversation. Yeah.
So we have to end with one of our favorite. We have so many stories.
And how do they all end up with me being on that side of it?
Well, I don't know, but we are going to. This goes back so many years. I can't even remember what year it was. But Timesia was in the hospital, and we've got so many again. We'll have to tell you another one later. But Timesia was in the hospital. It goes back so long. It was the old St. Mary's Hospital. That's where Mercy was in the old, in Rogers. And so she was there, and I go in the hospital.
Well, first I had limited visitors.
Limited. Only family.
Only family.
So
and they made that clear. There was a note posted on the door.
Only family. And so I go in as family and say I'm her sister.
No, wait, first the nurse said, ma'am, you can't go in there. She said, yes, I can. That's my sister. Comes in the room. That wasn't enough just for you to come in the room.
No. And then I get in the bed.
Get in the bed. And Lord, that conversation, the nurses was like, she said they sisters.
I'm in the bed.
How in the world are they sisters? Look at, did you see she's white? She's black. What in the world? But it was so realistic because I have a sister that would just get right on in my bed. And for me, it was undeniable. Yes, this is my sister. The only people that had problems was the nurses.
The nurses. But anyway, it was so special.
It was very special.
And we've been bonded ever since, actually. So it was so we've always had a special relationship, but that led to a connection that we've always had. And so we are sisters.
We really are sisters. We are sisters.
And we bonded in the hospital bed. But anyway, we hope that this conversation leads to your conversation with the person that it will be meaningful with, to be a lasting conversation with yet someone else that will lead to change. Timesia.
Let's just say too, if you're having a struggle with starting that conversation, get in contact with Susan. She knows how to contact me. We can start that little small conversation. We can open it up to anybody who wants those changes to begin. Let it begin with us.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.